Hello guys. After finishing doing videos on how to study for content subjects, I thought I will conclude with general A-level tips. It will be a three-part series where I first talk about quality of life, then general study tips, and finally giving my conclusion about A-levels. In this video, I'll share with you tips that I have to improve your quality of life. So just some background info. I took the GCE A-levels in Singapore from 2017 to 2018 and I got my results back on 2019. These are the subjects that I took in A-levels. You can pause the video to have a read yourself. So if you're interested in knowing how I performed throughout my junior college, over here you can see my grades, as well as my A-level results. My command of English has been generally quite bad throughout my junior college, and also I only took extra lessons outside of school for mathematics if you are curious about that. So yeah, you can see my grades right here. You can pause the video if you like to have a clearer look. My first tip for you is to start strong and be consistent. The GCE A-levels is actually quite similar to O-levels in that you have limited time but multiple subjects to study. So if you fall behind at the start, it may be quite hard for you to catch up towards the end. So with this mentality in mind, I kept the discipline going to do my work, but at the same time not too hardcore such that I burn out. I still found time to chill with my friends and engage in recreational activities, which I find is really important. Along the way, you might have some hiccups here and there because of maybe external commitments, but just make sure that you do your due diligence in keeping up with your academics. If you aren't doing so well and you are lagging behind, it's okay, but you have to put in more effort from now on. What's important is for you to realize that you shouldn't try to do a 180 at the start and just go very hard in putting more effort into your academics. Because obviously, if you do that, you're going to burn out. What you should be doing is try to build your discipline up consistently at a bit at a time so that you can reach your ideal goals and keep up with the pacing at the same time. Make sure that you don't do a 180 flip because you will really burn out quite fast. My next tip for you is to make sure that you're using your time wisely. So like I said, with the limited amount of time that you have to study for the A-levels, time management is certainly very important. I will probably do a video about time management sometime in the future, so you can stay tuned for that. Two important things that I have to share. First up is to reduce social media screen time. So things like Reddit, Instagram, and etc. For me, I will only use them in between lessons, or perhaps just browse a little bit on my way home. The thing I find about this social media is that it's not very meaningful and neither is it purposeful. Because instead of seeking out something that you actually want to do, social media is more reactive in the sense that you will browse your feed and find something that interests you. I would rather use my time more meaningfully than purposefully. So maybe engage in my hobbies or just perhaps do a bit of light gaming. I find that I will find more gratification that way since I'm actually seeking out something that I want to do with my free time. Next up is to make a to-do list. I usually do a to-do list the night before the next day so that I can get started right away the next day if I want to, since I'm usually more productive in the morning. So you can just write out stuff that you want to accomplish the next day. So it doesn't have to be studies related. It can also be things like doing the laundry and exercising and other stuff like that. I find to-do lists more productive for me because I'm not very good at studying with specific timings. So things like using a timetable. If you're more proficient in using a timetable, then go ahead and use it. Having a set of goals to accomplish is very useful as it can keep you on track and it can also keep your mind off work once you have finished all your goals. But make sure you set realistic goals for yourself and try not to burden yourself with too much work. Also, make sure that you are keeping healthy both physically and mentally. So you should definitely dedicate some time to exercise or just engage in sports so that you can keep yourself fit. It's also important that you keep your mind off work at times, so maybe you can just read books or just engage in your hobbies. whatever works for you to keep your mind off your academic work. Next, you need to understand when and where you work the best. So now let me address the time factor first. So I believe we all have times of the day where we feel like we work the best. So for morning birds, it's probably in the morning, and for night hours, it's probably very late at night. So it's very important for you to figure out at which period of the time you work the best. And I'm sure for most of us, we also have work that we are reluctant to do and work that I feel okay doing. So for example, work that I'm reluctant to do includes things like maybe English, because I don't really like doing English. And what I feel okay doing is probably math. So since I'm a morning bird myself, where I feel the most eager to work in the morning, I'll put the things that I'm most reluctant to do, so like English in the morning, so that the friction to doing work is the least. And for things that I feel more okay doing, so like mathematics, I'll leave it at night, where my friction to doing work is usually the greatest, so I'll put it with the work that I feel least reluctant to do. You also need to figure out what kind of environment you work the best in. It can be your home, library, or even the school, for example. Or you can even rotate between all these locations to help you spice up your learning. So in conclusion, it's important for you to know when and where you work the best in so that you can maximize your productivity whenever possible. My next tip for you is to remember to take a break whenever necessary. You need to treat GCE levels like a marathon rather than a sprint. So if you go too hard at the start, you'll probably burn yourself out towards the end. So make sure you unwind whenever you need to and not put too much pressure on yourself. Balance is key. Make sure you have balance. So that's all I have for this video. If you like this video, please drop a thumbs up and I'll see you in the next video where I talk more about study tips. Thank you for watching and see you.